Thank you very much, Julian and Matthias. I'm very happy to be at IIF again. And last time people complained my presentation was too short to direct, so I will take a little bit of time and use the full extent of my time to explain. We have two legs in Altech. One is the solid state battery for the grid and renewable energy. And today I want to talk about alumina anodes, which is an anode material for the EV market. Now, the two markets are distinctly different, and that's why it's good to have these two legs, which are very, very different. And I promise you that we are ready to go ahead. So today we are talking about alumina anodes, which is actually the objective. What is the objective of a battery or EV? They need a battery that is affordable and a battery that can charge fast and that has high density. Because the higher the density, the more power you have with less weight, the cheaper it's going to be. And how is this going to be achieved? There are many things. Even the picture below, you can see Elon Musk. He said in 2018, we're going to do silicon. It's going to be so cheap, factor 6, 7, and I'm going to achieve everything. So that is actually the plan. Silicon, or in German, silicium, is a high energetic collector for lithium ions. It's 10 times more capable than graphite, and silicium is cheaper, so it has more power, higher density, and silicon is abundant, so it's cheap. So if it's so good, where's the challenge? Well, the challenge is in the battery itself. You see below, all batteries work the same. You have a positive side with the cathode, with a different type of composition, and on the left side, you see the anode, which is graphite or silicon. Now, what happens when the lithium ions go over? They form a solid electrolyte interface, a first layer. They form around the graphite or the silicon, they form a first layer. Now, in graphite, you lose 15%. In silicon, you lose 50%. That's totally counterproductive. Plus, the degradation goes on. This is hydrofluoric acid, other things. This layer is constantly destroyed, and therewith you lose your capacity. For example, on your handphone, you all experience it. But with silicon, there's one bigger problem. When the silicon collects, because of its high surface area, the lithium ions, it expands 3 times and they rupture. And when they rupture, they delaminate from the copper. And then the energy is lost and the battery is broken. Now, the solution is the ceramic nano coating by Altech. It is alumina. Alumina is ceramic, is coating that has a thin layer. And the good part about this thin layer is it protects the loss, but it's still porous enough to go in. And last but not least, when you use it for silicon, the surface tension is enough so the particle doesn't rupture. Of course, there's limits. We are like 0.5 micron to 1 micron, 1 micron particles now, metallized particles. That is fantastic. That is really something that is outstanding. And here, these are pictures of actual particles. You can see how others do it. Ours is very nice and homogeneous. Why is that important? It is important because otherwise alumina or ceramic becomes an isolator if it's too thick or not porous and so forth. And with this coating, you have more capacity, more density, longer battery life, everything. Now, the funny part is this is known. This is scientifically known in China, in Europe. All the scientific institutes have tested this. Everybody knows this works. So if everybody knows it works, why are they not doing it? The problem is that we have, there should be one others. Okay, this is the USP. Since it's known, and all these tests have been done by atomic layer deposition, which is a gaseous type of thing. And it's very clear it works well, but it's not an industrial process. So the know-how and special unique selling point for Altech is that we have a wet chemical process, a simple process that is workable, scalable, and we have a pilot plant that is running, and we have now almost 2 years on lab experience. And what is this experience like? Here are the data. These are batteries that have more than 1,000 cycles. And we have particles running with 10% silicon that are solid at 430 milliampere, which is a 30% improvement. We have batteries running at 550. We have batteries running at 600, which almost double. But they are not as stable, so I can't promote them as yet. But this is where our journey will go. So that is a very significant type of improvement. And this material is, anode material in Europe is needed right, left, and center. There is only 2 graphite suppliers. 19% comes out of China. Now, if Altech can add a material that increases this battery capacity so much, it is huge. And last time I remember, I told you that we changed the philosophy. Instead of coating graphite and silicon, we're now only coating graphite, silicon, which is 8,000 tons per year for the main plant. And that is a huge benefit, because if 10% is used, then I can 80,000 tons of anode material can be used, which is 80 to 120 gigawatt hours. Sorry, there's a thunderstorm behind me. I hope you don't hear it. So it's an 8-fold increase. We are finished with the pilot plant now. It's commissioning. So the commissioning of the pilot plant is important because I need this material. I need these materials in higher quantities. Then it will go out, and then we go out for funding. The minute we have the offtake agreement from the larger quantities, we will go out in the market. And this is really a game changer because of the simplicity, because of the capability that we have. The pilot plant, I wanted to show you right away a few pictures, which is almost ready. And we have the design for the final plant is completely ready. Here you see a picture. I think you've seen this maybe before. We are in the perfect location in the gravity triangle of Europe for batteries, you know, from Tesla battery manufacturing, it's going to start in Brandenburg, to CATL, Porsche. We are in Schwarze Pumpe. You may know Group 14. Group 14 has purchased a factory in the back, also working on silicon. QuantumScape is coming, Porsche is coming. So this is really a perfect area, and this is going of the actual plant. So this is very real. We know all the costs. And with knowing all the costs and the market pricing and production cost, we have issued a detailed feasibility study, meaning bankable feasibility study in November that you can download, and that shows all the data. But let me get back one step. We need the pilot plant because I need quantities. Everybody believes, everybody visit the lab, but it is very important to have a pilot plant where people see this is almost industrial scale principle. Everything is automated, everything is done, all these things work. These are actual pictures from the pilot plant. And with this pilot plant, I know all the numbers. So with that, I can go into the economics of the plant. And like every other battery manufacturer, Altech Advanced Materials has suffered a little bit. But with this, also we lost 60% of the share from the absolute high, which is okay. We will get there again. I'm very sure this is an opportunity to add into Germany. In the Australian share price, which was extremely undervalued before, has recovered 30% in the last 2 weeks after all these announcements. So these are the facts. So 8,000 tons of nano ceramic coated silicon. With these 8,000 tons, we can spice 80,000 tons of anode material, which would be enough for anything between 80 to 120 gigawatt hour. That's phenomenal. The capex Total investment is only 112.5 million euro, of which 88 is for the plant. The plant means process equipment, building, remaining infrastructure, which really is not a lot because Schwarze Pumpe is a great industrial site. Everything is there. The operator of the industrial park, ASG, is very capable putting everything together. Because of the bankers, we have a high contingency of 13.3 million. We need special insurances. In the beginning, sodium chloride mixed with the coating in our process can be a little bit dangerous until it's fully operational. Then we have some corporate things, which is only 112 million. Operating expenditure per annum is 222 million. It's because of the materials, but it's still a very competitive product. With that, we would manage a revenue of 328 million euro with an EBITDA of 105.6 conservatively. Now, if you go back, our plant only costs 88. I make an EBITDA of more than the total plant. And you know, the next plant is cheaper, the next plant is cheaper, the infrastructure scaling. So even now I have this high margin and we're moving forward. So the NPV of this is 684 million euro at a discount rate of 10 cost of capital. Some may argue, I think it's high already, depending on what we get. The structured finance to get the 112 million euro total investment, I cannot show you yet because it's confidential. As you know, we are in the zero valley area in Germany. Every European state will get a zero valley, and this zero valley means you get TCTF funding, you get EIB funding, you get grants, you get discount, you can start, everything will be there. It's not totally true yet. This is replacing the IPCEI. So we are in the right place and we will not have to spend 100% equity. Anyway, so this is the opportunity. This is the product for Europe with an IRR of 34.6% conservatively. And that is including all and only the first plant. So I think this is a fantastic story. And it is a story that all others would like to do. Remember, Volkswagen bought into QuantumScape 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, they said, this is ready tomorrow. Now, after 10 years, they made 3 solid-state batteries with a little bit of ceramic, and they're now going out. So this is really a game changer when this goes into the battery. And the product that we make doesn't need a change in battery production. That's why we changed. Remember, we changed from graphite coating and silicon coating to pure silicon. Why? Because the car and battery manufacturers want to use their qualified and proven graphite. So they use 90% of their material, which they use, and spice it up with 10%. So it's a drop-in. They mix it in, roll it out, dry it, and well, I'm saying it will work. The truth will only come out once the manufacturers have efficient quantities. And I can assure you, we have all major companies want to test. And then we will let you know. So the detailed feasibility study you can download. You can download on the Altech Batteries Limited Australia. You can download it here at my place, at Altech Advanced Materials. And it will let you have all information in regards to the feasibility, all the details on the design, on the market study, on the pricing, and so forth. So please download, start buying some shares, we will not go out. We are pretty well funded for everything we want to do this year. We are going out when we are ready to start the project, and then we will go out for a placement, maybe a combination placement and rights issue, or also a combination subject to how much grants and other funding we get. But as you can already see, 112 million is a lot of money, yes, but in terms of battery materials and batteries investment, it's not a large sum. So we may have other investors that are interested in purchasing a larger share. So we are considering all of this, and we will, of course, go out in the market to you on time, fully transparent, make a decision. And so please follow our announcements, and then we can move forward. At the moment, don't get confused. The authorized capital is 7 million. We have a capitalization of the registered shares today of 47. We have this almost the same amount of shares, which we are now making the prospectus, that the shares that already have been sold, they will be tradable rather sooner than later. We're still working with BaFin on this prospectus, and this prospectus should well let us list all the outstanding shares, and we can move forward. So that was one leg. The first leg of Altech is ready to go, subject to our material going out. And the second project, the battery, I will present next time. But the battery, we have no stumbling block. With the battery, we believe that the DFS will come out end of March, early April. There is no more waiting. We will go out in the market right away because we are not depending on anybody. We just need to make the product. Sale is not a bottleneck. Everybody needs stationary batteries. So the next big announcement will come end March, early April, and then Altech will be standing on two legs, ready to go and make history. And we are also, I'd like to let you know, because we have a lot of international visitors, we have an expert workshop every 6 weeks. The next one will be on the 12th and on the 13th in Dresden. And we have a lot of visitors also from the US and also from Canada. Why? Because they're all interested to see what's happening and getting well informed. This is a closed session, so I cannot invite you, but what I'd like to do is we had many shareholders, interested shareholders to come and visit. Storytelling is one thing, seeing the real thing, the battery, as well as the coating, as well as the anode material, as well as the lab with the working batteries is a different story. So if you really want to have the confidence where this journey with Altech is going, give me a call. All my contacts are here. I pick up the phone almost 24/7 when we're not sleeping, and I'll be very happy to show you around. Right? Our IP is very difficult. You can come, look, take photos. You will not be able to gain access of understanding how this thing works. So with this, I'd like to thank you. You know the standard. We have a nice board, all these other things that you can download. And here is my contact. This is the real email address and my real phone number. So I'm waiting for you. Please call. Thank you.
Well, Uwe, thank you very much for this great presentation. So first of all, sharing your real email and phone number, I think I've never seen that in 15 years almost of practice here. So this is quite amazing. It tells a lot about the transparency and how at heart you take every shareholder interest. So that being said, I think we have a lot of questions in the chat. So thank you for leaving us 9 minutes to go through them. So first, someone is asking where they can download the presentation. Is it available on your website?
Yes, it's in the presentation. There is a link. If you click on this link, you can download.
Perfect. What is the current status of the Silumina anodes pilot plant? I think you confirmed that. Has it actually produced any HPA-coated silicon? And when will the commissioning be complete? If you can just wrap up on that.
Yeah, the pilot plant is separated in two distinct parts. One is the wet process, where you have sort of soluble alumina in a specialized liquid, acid liquid, which is mixed and then dried. So that process has commissioned, and we have coated this. And then after that, when the material is dried, there is a special calcining process. The calcining process is a very special process because you cannot afford any contamination of the material. So normally when you have dry or spray dryers, they will always have contamination because of the materials inside. So we have designed a very special dryer with silicon carbide inside, which is a 3D printed product. That was a bit delayed because of quality issues from the supplier and our design. So the first part is fully commissioned. The second part now will take some time. I can't tell you how much, but this is one that we are just starting, and we hope to be yeah, ready as soon as possible, but this will take at least 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Then where does the raw
Plant is fully
material?
installed.
Yeah,
The
okay.
plant is fully installed.
Okay, perfect. Where does the raw material comes from? And maybe also a question that goes with it. John is saying that the silicon feedstock is also very, very expensive right now. Can you please comment? So both on where it comes from and the prices.
Yeah, silicon materials are very expensive, but you have to see silicon particles are manifold, hydroxide, monoxide, metallized. So we're using metallized at a relatively large size. 1 micron, so 100 nanometers is maybe not large in a normal person, but for these particles it's large. And every let's say half a micron is 3 times as expensive as one, and 100 nanometer is another 10 times. So our material is not as expensive as you would expect, but yes, it's still expensive. It's probably 80% or almost close to 80% of the raw material costs that go into the plant. So that's one. Number two is that this price or this cost for the silicon will has a scaling effect. Of course, the more I buy, the cheaper it gets. And the material comes from the #1 producer in Europe, which is Ferroglobe in Spain. We have an agreement with them for the pilot plant and all subsequent things. They have enough capacity. When we start building 8,000 tons, they will also ramp up and do the necessary investments coinciding with the completion of ours. So it will come from Spain.
Perfect. We had questions about total shares out, including options and warrant. I think you answered that through the last slides. That's something interesting. Can you show again the structure and value chain with Altech Australia, please? I don't know if you want to go into details into that, but that was requested on our side.
I don't have it in this presentation. Practically, it is quite simple. We have two public listed companies. The original was the one in Australia, listed on the ASX, now previously called Altech Chemicals, now called Altech Batteries Limited. And Altech Batteries Limited owns 75% of everything that Altech knows. yeah, or has. So the operating companies for the battery, Altech Batteries GmbH, Altech Industry GmbH, or 75. And the German public listed company owns 25% of everything. So that's the present distribution. Is it ideal? No, not really. But you know how it is. Sometimes things happen the way as they grow. We are in the European marketplace. Europe is desperately in need of battery technologies. People have a lot of ideas, but between idea and doing something is more than 10 years in general. And in Europe, you can see many people start out and have good ideas and die in between. Why? Because the environment is not the same. People do not support, people don't have the breadth. So we are very much aware of these risks. And we try and plan our development as prudent as possible. And I mean, we have very little overhead. We have 17 experts in Germany. We have 15 experts in Australia. That's the whole team. And yeah, of course, we have a lot of additional consultants. Fraunhofer alone has over 40 people full-time working on our qualification and doing all these things. So that is the story. And to finish that, Altech Advanced Materials was taken over and renamed Altech Advanced Materials because we have the funding opportunities. And I'm not only talking about you as a shareholder, equity, but you want your biggest return for your equity. So how is that possible? Well, the more money I get from somebody else, preferably for free, is good for you, good for me. And that is only possible at the moment in Europe or in America. Unfortunately, at the moment, America is more sexy. That's why everybody is running. But I believe in America, things can change very quickly. I believe the best position is for us to have a German product made in Germany, quality in Germany for the European market. When I'm strong enough, I can conquer the rest of the world. That's the reason.
I think this is a very straightforward business plan, and it can defend itself very, very well also, no doubt about that. Uwe, last question from Michael John. Business deals with customers are crucial. When can this be expected? And obviously, many automotive companies are currently having problems selling electric vehicles. What impact does this have on your ramp up?
Yeah, this is a complex question. I mean, for the
And we only have 1 minute, Uwe.
No. I mean, it's straightforward. I build a pilot plant. The minute I can give this to the automotive company, they take 3 to 6 months to test. When they tick, then we go. That is on Silumina anodes. For the battery, it's much easier. I could sign 5 contracts today. But I will only sign that once the industrial prototypes are ready. We plug them in, and I can demand what I want to demand.
Perfect. Well, this is a good way to end the presentation. So Uwe, thank you very much again for taking the time to presenting Altech with us, changing a bit the weight of the presentations, focusing today on one of the 2 pillars of revenues and of operation you'll be having. The numbers look fantastic, and we'll be again very happy and continuing to follow your story, Uwe. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.